Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Watches. I'm Wade. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day to all you lovely people out there. And in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I'm going to be reviewing Selma from 2014, directed by Ava DuVernay and starring David Oyelowo and a bunch of massive A-listers that I forgot were in this movie because it's been a while. But jumping right into it, this is easily the Martin Luther King Jr. movie. I don't want to rush and say there have been others in the past. I'm pretty sure there was a mini series or something of some sort. I want to say he's been depicted in other movies. Maybe there's another movie out there that I haven't heard of that does star Martin Luther King Jr. front and center. I don't doubt it. But regardless, this is easily the Martin Luther King Jr. movie that most of us think of when we hear about, MLK movies. And it's so easy to see why, because Selma is nothing short of a black masterwork of cinema. And I think the main thing that works for me, of the many things that I absolutely love about Selma, is the fact that it does take this larger than life legend and focus on only one aspect of the many things that he accomplished in his life. This being, for this film, the titular march from Selma to Montgomery in Alabama in 1965 to secure voting rights for Black Americans. And I won't say that I don't like seeing, your typical biopic that starts from the very beginning of a legend's life and then goes all the way to their death. But I also am a huge fan of, kind of like the more condensed approach where you're focusing on one instance, not everything from start to finish. Especially when you can execute it and just really go into how difficult this one thing was to achieve, which Selma does perfectly, in my opinion. It's not easy and it's not overly mythologized. David Oyelowo, who was he for 2 hours, I thought I was looking at Martin Luther King Jr. himself. Indeed, he doesn't play Martin as this, just this, iconic, untouchable, larger than life civil rights figure that many think of him as to this day. He plays him as, as Martin Luther King Jr. was reportedly near the end of his life. This takes place 3 years before he was assassinated in 1968, and many have gone on record saying that he was feeling kind of disillusioned. He was feeling kind of tired and feeling like, everything he was doing was for nothing. And I think Oyelowo really portrays that part perfectly. Just this guy who doesn't even know if it's all worth it and kind of just needs the reassurances of, everyone with him in this fight to keep going. And that's what I love seeing here, for sure. Just the fact that this guy was vulnerable, he was human, and sometimes it was up to others to motivate him to keep him going, and there were other times where he just felt downright defeated, downright hurt, so it was great seeing that. And I loved that David Oyelowo simply didn't, condense his performance to, the speechifying and I have a dream. I like that we see this guy as a human, which of course Martin Luther King Jr. was, and everybody else is terrific as well. What an ensemble cast. We have Tessa Thompson, Lakeith Stanfield. We have Coleman Domingo in this, Tim Roth, Tom Wilkinson. I just forgot all Oprah Winfrey. I forgot everybody was in this film because it's been a while since I've seen it, but stellar A-list ensemble cast. Cuba Gooding Jr. is in this. Totally forgot he was in there, but everyone is terrific across the board. You have larger than life talent all around bringing this to life. Of course, like all the biopics out there, like all of the films based on real life events, it's received some flack for, omitting a lot of things, omitting a lot of figures from the Selma to Montgomery march. And to those people I say, I get it, and I can totally understand why Some people will be more offended than others, especially if this event is personal to them. But I always see these biopics as semi fictitious. It's not the same as watching a documentary. So you have to remember that like at the end of the day, the main goal here is to entertain just as well as educate. So some stuff is going to be taken out, some stuff is going to be glossed over, and Selma is guilty of doing that. There's one thing in particular that is it's well noted that Martin Luther King Jr. did do, and I do feel like the film kind of just like skirts by that, like bypasses it just in one scene. It's just kind of a one and done thing, but I get why they have to just keep things going, and I don't hold it against the film because this thing is really still powerful. It really got me in the feels. The eyes did moisten up a little at times, like all black struggle films, like all films that deal with the harsh realities of the African American experience. I was cringing, my fists were balled up. So yeah, it is still a very masterfully done film. It is a very powerful portrayal of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. David Oyelowo kills it in the lead role. The story is solid. I like them portraying the how hard it was for Martin Luther King Jr. and the SNCC and the SCLC, and there was one more organization. All of the civil rights organizations involved in the march to secure the right for us to vote. It wasn't one and done. It wasn't this condensed, easy thing like the school textbooks will tell you. People bled for this. People literally did die for us to have our right to vote, and this film nails that to a T. Ava DuVernay killed it directing this thing. And wrapping it up, I'm going to go ahead and give Selma a well-earned 10 out of 10. It's a perfect biopic. This is how you see everybody. This is how you do a biopic. Don't sugarcoat it. Humanize these people, because these larger than life legends, at the end of the day, they were still human. They were still flawed. They still felt the same things that we feel. And those accomplishments that we write about now, that we remember them for, a lot of them were not easy. A lot of them weren't like simply handed to them. A lot of them had to bleed for it. And Selma is one of the ones that realizes that and gets it right. And it's a perfect 10 out of 10 for me. This has been another edition of Weight Watches, and I'll see you lovely people next time. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.